Hello, beautiful beginners. I am playing today. This is a Strathmore card. I love these cards. You've seen me use them in the past a lot, and they come with this really pretty deckled edge envelope, so I really like them. They're 140 pound cold press. I've got this one taped down because I wanted to have this fun little border in the background. And today I'm using the Craftamo Bloom brush. I will tell you there's one of these that's going to come up in my subscription boxes about midway through the subscription. So just a little FYI there. And then if you don't want to hear about my supplies, you can just fast forward. These are my Mylang Paul Rubens, and they're dry right now. So I'm just going to give them a little spritz, get them activated and alive. You know, I love my Mylang paints, and I think today I think I'm going to paint with this light blue. It's the light sky blue. It's really pretty. And then maybe a little turkey blue. We'll see. Let's actually do a little swatch. And by the way, the Bloom's brush set, it comes with 5 of them. They're awesome, you guys. They're from Craftamo. I've been having a ball with them. Like, I'm pretty obsessed. They have all the way from a really small to large, and then they give you 2 tiny little rounds. And the one I'm using is their size 6, and oops, that is the one I meant to grab. I think I'm going to use the 10. Oh, no, you know what? Let's use the 8. Yeah, I'll use the 8. Okay, let's play with some colors together. This is a little swatch, a rubber stamp that I swatch out colors with. Actually, you guys told me about this, so thank you. And let's play with some light sky blues. So I'm going to use my brush here. And I've got, by the way, my wash water and my rinse water. Really important in watercolors. And I have my little paper towel because I'm a dabber. Every time I go into the water, I kind of tap my brush off. So just wetting my brush, and I scraped it off barely. And then let's play with this light sky blue. I love these paints. They literally, if I had to choose one paint palette, that would be it. It has every color I love. So that's really pretty. It's like a cornflower, I think. Is that a cornflower blue? And then let's play with maybe our turkey blue. We all love that. That's pretty intense. Let's lighten it up a tiny bit. Yeah, that's pretty. I like that. And let's see. Let's play with a tiny bit of purple. So we've got that. Ooh, look how pretty that palette is. Really like those colors. And then I might just play with a little bit of, ooh, yeah. Okay, that's it, guys. That's what I'm feeling, those purples. And our greens will be my go-to green. Is really this tree green, like a sap green. It's just such a beautiful green, and it actually is the green of my tape here. And I might add just a touch of the brown. We'll see if I want to bring in a little bit of earthy feel. So I think that'll be my color palette. When I get going, I always kind of play and trade. So let me just write it down. This is the Mylang palette. And let's see here. Mylang palette, this is the light sky blue. This is our fave, turkey blue. And this is deep violet and red violet. I love those. They're kind of mixing and mingling and playing together there. This is tree green, and that's a Van Dyke brown. So those are pretty common. If you have Winsor Newton or whatever you have, those are some fun colors, but look how pretty these purples go. And then of course, purple and green are always kind of opposite on the color wheel. So I just think they always play together really well. They're opposites or complementary colors, which go really pretty together. All right, so those will be my colors. And then I'm using, like I said, this really fun, I'm totally obsessed with Bloom's brush. And again, I'll say it again, this one will be coming out about midway through my subscription boxes. So excited to play with them with you. Okay, so what I want to do, kind of the vibe I'm going for here. Let me grab something 1 second. Hold on, everybody. Okay, I was hoping I could grab a envelope to show you, because these Strathmore envelopes are really pretty. I just think they're so fun. I make all my cards, but you know, warning, once you start doing that, people are like, oh, you're giving me a store-bought card, Debbie? So once you do that, they're gonna want you to stick with your handmade cards, which I love because I think people tend to keep them longer and kind of have them forever. So what I want to do is start over in the top right corner, and I'm kind of gonna go down into this corner. So let's just play with our colors. We have this here kind of for reference. All right, so I wet my brush, clean off my desk here. I'm already splattering around stuff. Wet my brush, just tap it off a bit. And I'm going to, let's see, let me spin my big old bad boy palette around, which by the way, one of you said, why don't you put it on a Lazy Susan? So I ordered one today, you guys. I'm pretty excited to get it. This just happens to be my light sky blue. Isn't it pretty? Just kind of soft. And I'm going to go in, what, you know what I might do, you guys? Let's do this. Let's tap in with the tip to that turkey blue. Ooh, that'll be fun. And I'm just gonna go in here. So I'm pointing, let me do a little circle there just to kind of show you what I do a lot of times. So here's the center of my flower. Hopefully you can see that. I can maybe do it in pen for you here. Didn't really want to because I'm gonna gift this, but that's all right. So there's my little circle. And then I think maybe I'll have one here, and then maybe one here, something like that. So that just kind of keeps my petals in line there. And then I'm gonna move this over so I can get a little bit of room from my palette here. Okay, so I'm pointing this Bloom's brush. It's like a triangle, and it's got 3 corners. And I'm taking the very tiny, tiny, tiny tip, itty bitty tip, pointing it to the center of my flower. And I'm basically keeping that point there. And then I'm just going to swirl it around and start creating. And I intentionally ran this off the page, by the way. Kind of wanted to do that. Point, putting my brush to the side, spin, and then let's do it again. I'm also trying to leave a little bit of white space in between these petals at the base. So point, press, and turn. Point, press, and turn. Look how pretty that is. Let me get some of that turquoise. Only thing with taping it down is I can't turn my paper. So point, press, point, press, and it makes this really fun little petal. So I'm kind of playing with the light blue, with the turquoise. This one's gonna be hard. Got to get at a weird angle. So to be honest, good luck with this one, you guys, right? Sorry for the weird arm thing going on there. There we go. Leave a white space. That turned out pretty good. Look how pretty. Now I think what I'll do is I'm going to go into some of that purple we have, and let's play with that a bit. I'm not even going to wash my brush. So I'm going to go into this purple on my palette right here. Oh, which you can't see. Let me show you. And I'm not even washing my brush. And it actually is going to make this really cool color. I will use the tip of my brush. And let's start doing this one. So I'll start over here, point, bring my brush on its side, and swirl it around. That is really fun, you guys. Point, swirl it around, point, swirl it around. And I'm running them off the page, which I love that type of approach. I think it's really fun. So angle my brush. I'm resting my palm, tip is in the center, and then I'm sliding the back of my brush over. And I'm painting right over that one. Totally okay, you guys. Don't freak out about that. Leave a space in between at the base point, and I make another petal. I do want to get a little bit of water. So I'm almost putting, since the brush has 3 sides, I'm going to coat one side now in the blue and one side in the purple. Let's see what that does. Although I want to do a bigger petal so we can see the result. So again, pardon this really weird, if you guys could see me how I'm standing, you'd crack up. Point, bring my brush a swoop around, and swoop around. Look how cute these are. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm doing this. And then the other side of my brush, I'll put in the purple. And let's do one right here. So point, swoosh around, point, swoosh around, but I'm saving that white space in the middle. Let's do it again. Point, swoosh around, point, swoosh around. Ooh, this makes a really cool effect, you guys. I'm gonna get a little bit more water. And then a little bit more of that blue. Point, swish around, point, swish around. So I'm kind of covering up that flower, but I'm totally fine with that. Point, swish around, point, swish around. So I'm using 2 swishes to make a petal. Now, wow, you guys, I am loving that. Oh, I'm seeing I stuck my hand in it. That's okay. Now what I think I'll do is I'm going to rinse my brush. So I'm going to wash it and rinse it and then tap it off, and let's go into some green. So this is where that Lazy Susan is going to be really handy. Sorry, guys. And I'm going to go into the green I have here, which you can't see. You know, I just recently got this palette and I love it, but it is kind of difficult to paint on camera with. I love the palette, and then right here, let's make a leaf coming out. So point, press, point, press. Look at that. Isn't that fun? I'm going to make that a little bigger. Point, press, point, press. Yeah, that's fun. And I love green and purple together. I just think it's so pretty. So let me go back in there. Let's do another one, maybe right here. Point, press. This time I'm putting the point again towards there. And I'm going to try and leave a little bit of white space in there. Look how fun, you guys. Let's see. Let's go this way. Press, press. So that one is definitely running off the page. Totally fine with that. And these, I'm just pressing. Let's see here. Okay, let me think about this a minute. I want to see where I want to put my next. I think I'm going to go into some brown. So let's get some brown on my palette here. And a little green. There we go. Okay. And then I think I will, let's have this. Look at how thin a line I can get. Is that the coolest, you guys? And because I'm just using that point. I mean, you could get microscopic here. And then I'll go in and just add some rinsing my brush, dabbing it off. And I'm gonna go back into that purpley color again. And let's do some little one stroke flowers, maybe one right here. Point, press. Oh, I'll do 2 strokes. Kind of fun, huh? Something like that, like it's opening. And then let's try and use it on that side. I don't know what this is gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna make that a leaf too. So tap off my brush, go into the green. And let's make some leaves here. Point, press, and I curl around and come up on that point. Another one right here. Look how fun. It looks like it's just cradling that. Right here. Oh my gosh, you guys, seriously, this is the brush of the year. I remember when I first started using the Degatos, and it was like, that was my pick of the year to share with you guys. Okay, this year, it's this brush. So much fun. And look at how beautiful. So now I think I'm going to put a flower here. So let's go back into our baby blue. Let's see, where'd my baby blue go? Oh, here it is. And I'm going to, let me see if I can grab my little palette so you guys can see what I'm doing. So grabbing some of my baby blue, put it in here. How's that? Is that better? And let's do a little point, press, point, press. And now if I wanted that purple in there, I can go in and look at that. I can tap in. Rinse my brush, pick up some more of that beautiful light sky blue. I called it baby blue. Point, press, point, press. Oh my gosh, this is such a cute little flower. Let's go into that. I'm just gonna darken it up a bit. There we go. When you tape down your paper, that's the only thing. You can't turn your paper to kind of play. Point, press. And you know what I'm really loving? I'm loving the white space in the middle. It almost is reminding me of a 4-leaf clover. Doesn't it? Kinda? And I think I'm just gonna leave that one like that. And then I'm gonna do another one right here. Point, press. I want a little bit of that purple. Point, press. Ooh, look at that. I did a lot of blue and then I dipped the tip in the purple. Let's do that again. Point, press, just bringing my brush to the side. Point, press. Oh my gosh, you guys, you're gonna get tired of me using this brush. That's all I'm gonna say. And you know what, that's okay. And right here, okay, I'm at that weird angle, so hopefully I can make this good for you guys. Point, press, point, press. Another one right here, point, press, point, press. Loving the white circle in the middle too. I think that's really, really a big part of this for me. Point, press, point, press. Look how beautiful. I'm gonna tap in a bit there. Should have tapped in with some purple, I guess. Rinse my brush and let's just pick up a bit more of that green. Put that in my palette here. There we go. And let's create point press, point press. I mean, you can just do a 1 point leaf. Point press. Oops. I like using the tip down. There we go. Some little leaves. Somebody one time said, you're pronouncing leaves wrong. I was pronouncing it leaves, not leaves. So there you go. I'm gonna do some more of these little flowers. Let me grab some of that light sky blue. Oh my gosh, this is so fun, you guys. And I think I'll do one right here. Point press. I'm kind of spinning that brush around. Point press. Point press. Point press. Point press. Now these I'm kind of doing a 1 stroke. Did you notice that? And point press. I didn't realize how difficult this was going to be, working with it kind of at a weird angle. There we go. Oh my gosh, these are so pretty. Let's do some leaves coming out here. So point press, point press, point press, point press, point press. Oop. See, now that time I had the point out. I really like starting with it in. Point press. So fun. This is such a simple little flower. I don't want to overdo it. I'm really trying not to. So I think I might add a little bit of dark green in there. And maybe just a peak of a flower there. But let's see. Let's add in right here, point press. Ooh, that was a good one. Point press. How about we put it this way? See what we get. Point press. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Point press. And I'm always encouraging you, like, use your brushes, turn them, twist them, like, see what works for you. And then I want to put a really pale one down here in the corner. So wash my brush off. I'm going to put a lot of water in here, so it's really pale. About 80% water, 20% pigment. And then let's just do a little flower peeking out here. Point press, point press, point press, point press. Yeah, that was exactly what I wanted. You can probably barely see that. Maybe we should do, I like the number 3 there. Point press, point press. Maybe there's a little flower coming out right there too. So fun. This flower, I only did 3 petals because I wanted to make it look like it was kind of on its side. Thought that was kind of interesting. And I think I'm done. But I want to show you the tip on this brush, because you can use that tip to, I don't usually do this because I'm not a, you know, really details, but you could look at that. Look at the tiny little lines I can get. Just tiny, tiny, if you wanted to add some detail. We could really even add detail into the middle of the flower, but I don't even know if we totally need it. Really, I think I'm kind of liking it like this. If you know calligraphy, you could really easily do that. Let me pull the tape off because I want you to see how pretty these cards are. And you know what? You could honestly fill this whole page. I'm going to try and write something right here. I'm not even going to show you because my calligraphy is scary. only a family could love it. So I'll spare you guys my writing calligraphy. Ooh, but again, I love that border. And there we go. Look how pretty. It's really elegant. I feel it has this really elegant feel to it because it's a little bit simpler. Look at that. And there's my card. I love it. So I hope you guys will try it. You know, when you get your brush, just play with it. And what I noticed is pulling it to the side and widening out. You know how I usually say point, press, and open the belly? Here it's point and press to the side and pull it to the side, and you'll get that width of the belly here. All right, everybody, have fun, happy painting, you know, just enjoy these things. And right after I turn the camera off, I'm going to try my hand at some calligraphy. But like I said, I'm going to spare you guys that pain. And I hope you give this a try. Definitely, I'll put the link to these. I think you're going to have a ton of fun. And actually, look at this I haven't even used this one, so it's got the coating on it. This is the 16 Jumbo Bloom. Love it. I think the one in my subscription box, I'm going to make kind of the in-between closer to the 8. But I can't wait to share that with you. All right, everybody, happy painting. I'll be right here telling you, reminding you, you are an artist. And thank you so much for being here. All right, see you soon.